think that's enough of that. Welcome one and all. Merry Christmas up until 8 p.m. Hope you've been having a good one up until now. We're here to talk a bit about that game. A bit, maybe quite a lot about that game. But let's see how you are and how are you, Pete? First of all, how are you getting on?
Well, yeah. Up until 8 o'clock, I was great. Great day. Merry Christmas to everybody. Although people probably are not feeling very Christmassy right now. Yeah, great Christmas. Great Boxing Day. St. Stephen's Day for you, Daz. Get that in there. But yeah, celebrate it with friends and family. And then I sit down to watch our team. And yeah, my night's just been absolute dog shit, if I'm going to be honest, since that point. But Daz, how are you?
Yeah. Up until that point, great as well. I had a great day yesterday with family at my mother-in-law's house and meeting everyone and catching up with everyone was great. And today as well, similar. But so we'll make our way back. The plan was also to make our way back and then get this game and this reaction show all the way. And I was not expecting us to be this depressed talking about it. But here we are. That is football. That is this season. And it's been a shit season so far, in my opinion. But welcome everyone to the chat. Anyone that's joining us. Hope you have been having a good Christmas. We'll talk about this and then we'll move on. And we'll try and enjoy the rest of our time off a holiday period. But welcome one and all. If you're a Newcastle fan, if you're a Man United fan, fuck off. I don't want to hear anything from you. Just fuck off. Right. Let's talk about the match. No idea if Chris is going to join us. This is usually Chris's day. But we'll see how it goes. All right. Let's talk about the team news. This was the team news. Unchanged for Eddie Howe. For me, I wanted to see Wisa. You wanted to see Wisa as well, Pete, in this lineup that we discussed in the big match preview. I think we had everyone else there.
Yes,
we did.
Yeah, pretty much nailed down. Other than that, it was just a striker.
Really. Just thought that Wisa would offer more running and a different kind of problem for Man United to encounter. But what did you make of the team?
I had no issues with the starting lineup. Like I said, on the preview we'd have preferred Reece to start this game. Thought we would have had more of an impact, and interestingly enough, he did for the short minutes he was on the pitch. But yeah, it is what it is. It's all historic now, Daz. You look at their team and you're rubbing your hands together before the game because they've got players injured. We've got players injured too, but they have players injured and important players for them. And you're rubbing your hands together when you're looking at their lineup and you're thinking, "Come on, let's get at these." And I'm sure you're going to talk about it next, Daz, and how the game unfolded. So let's get cracking on that because I think obviously people are going to want to hear our feelings about certain points of the game, but you can already see in the chat, and I'm trying to keep up as much as I possibly can. We've got nearly 150 already in the chat. We're only 3 minutes in. Make sure you get those likes in, people. Get those likes up and give us your opinions, people. If you want to put a super chat in, we'll get straight to that conversation as and when it drops. So if you've got a question or something that you really want being said in that live chat tonight, get it out there, but get a super chat in and we'll come to discuss it because I've got a feeling there's a lot of discussion points beyond this match tonight that I think a lot of Newcastle fans, including me and Daz, and hopefully Chris, if he arrives, are going to want to get into. So sorry, Daz, to just jump.
No, and I'm gonna start with the positive because since 8 o'clock, the best thing I've seen, Pete, is that warm looking snood or that's
it's the Rudy. You know what? The only thing that's made me happy. The only thing that's made me happy tonight watching Newcastle United is watching it with the new official Newcastle United hoodie. So gone is the grey hoodie. It's now the black one, and it's as smooth as silk. It is. If anyone's not got one, get one because it's the only thing that's made me happy watching our team tonight. So
I'm getting one of them. Right. Right, let's get into this. First half, Man United with a switch from their normal formation. Of course, with the number of players Afghan and the number of players injured. Why did we not bury these lads? They show some promise with an early corner. Where Casemiro was left unmarked and put the ball over. 8 minutes in, Nick Pope is sent to warm up as Ramsdale goes down. Instructions being communicated via Lewis Hall from Eddie Howe as Eddie Howe looks to nullify that change that they have made. Christmas miracle then ensued as Ramsdale made a full recovery. The shithousery is in full force. Newcastle looking dodgy at the back though as they get cut open in those opening 10 minutes. 10 minutes in, then Bruno Hedo from a corner is saved. 20 minutes in, Newcastle have been in more control for the next 10 minutes after that, since the reshuffle in the approach. 23 minutes in, Ramsdale save from Cunha. 23 minutes in, bang, there's their goal. Dorgu with the volley makes it 1-0. Volley had made the defensive clearance. He was free. Dorgu was free, and Ramsey does try to track him back a bit, but it was too late. He took the goal well. It was a good volley. What do you want to say about the winner, I suppose?
Yeah, look, it's a decent contact. I've got to be honest, I'm going to talk about it from a Newcastle perspective. I don't want to talk about it from a Man United perspective. It's a terrible goal to concede. It's a terrible goal, right? We were up and actually having more possession and parked in their half for, 4 or 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden they get a counter-attack. Corner comes in. It's a dreadful header from Nick Baltimore. It's awful. If you're heading it out, you head it away from the centre of the pitch. You're just heading it straight back into play. It's a dreadful header. Just a catalogue of mistakes. First off, dreadful header back into play. Why there's nobody in that middle of the park from a Newcastle perspective, I've got no idea. But then the fact that Dorgu loses Jacob Ramsey so easily, because Ramsey's the one that's meant to be marking. Ramsey was not good tonight at all. You know, I'm a big fan of him. He was not good tonight at all. Dorgu loses Ramsey with such ease. Ramsey gets nowhere near him, and all he does is just tries to get a half decent connection and hit the target. But I'm sorry, Ramsdale's got to save that. It's Timmy chocolate wrist. It really is. His arms, when that ball gets hit towards Ramsdale, his arms melt. And we have this conversation about, Nick Pope can't kick a ball, this, that, and the other, and Ramsdale's distribution is very good. But I'm sorry, distribution meant nothing in that game today. Shot stopping did. Because I tell you what, if Nick Pope was in goal, that goal does not go in. He makes that save. Because it's not a difficult save for me. It just isn't. So a calamity, poor defensive header, poor marking from Ramsey, and poor goalkeeping from Ramsdale. And it gifts them a goal into the game, because although they looked half decent on the counter up until that point, they didn't really create anything. They never really looked like scoring, nor did they look like scoring after the goal.
For the rest of that,
that's the annoying thing about it all, is that they never look like scoring, and we've gifted them a goal through our own mistakes. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it just isn't it just what we've been seeing this season? Just absolute typical Newcastle United. It's what we've seen all season. But yeah, absolute dross all round from Newcastle United for that goal. And yeah, that's your thoughts on it. Anything to add, mate?
No, because we were the first 10 minutes they were on top of us, and then we were on top of them for the next 10 minutes, and then their goal changed everything, I suppose. But yeah, it was just the way he was free. No one was tracking him, and the ball, like Nick Fortmater. He's in there for defensive reasons as well as meant to be attacking reasons, but defensively, his headers can go anywhere. It should be away from goal if you away from the line of goal if he's making those defensive clearance. But look, I'm not going to really blame him either so much on it. I think Ramsdale could have and should have saved that. But we'll move on because it takes Newcastle 20 minutes to make some kind of an effort in my eyes, because 33 minutes Ramsdale has a save from a Dorgu on the right. Then I have to go to the 40th minute before Newcastle show any kind of sign of hunger or anything. It was like it was. I kind of asked the question myself when their goal went in: can they get back into this now? Are we going to see similar to what we saw in the derby? Where is the reaction? And it took until 20 more minutes until that happened, where they were fighting to win the ball back, chasing down, and putting Man U under a bit of pressure. But nothing came with that first half. 1-0 at half time. Don't know if there's anything much we can add in that first half. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think you made a great point. I felt exactly the same, Daz. Until we conjured up that opportunity where Gordon wins a tackle, and then we create the ball out to the right hand side. Murphy puts it in. No one running in. No one putting their body on the line to try and get something on the end of it. Just typical Newcastle United in that moment. Great balling from Murphy. One of the plus points of that first half. And it's like, where's that been? Where's that grit? Where's that determination been? Because I'll be honest with you, Man United in that first half, they wanted it more than us. From minute one, they were steaming into tackles. They were getting stuck in. They were putting their body about. They were pulling. They were pushing. They were showing that they weren't there to be bullied and to be walked over. And we didn't match it. We were very timid, like little touches on the ball, going down very easily. Just at times, just letting them bully us. Like there was a couple of times early on, he was better in the second half, but a couple of times early on where Miley was just kind of getting bullied by Cunha. Cunha was just overpowering him, and he was just kind of getting the better of him quite easily. And there was no real grit or determination to win the ball back. Not just Miley, by the way. I'm just giving an example. There were others in the middle of the park. Sandro Tonali, where another one. Gordon typically was very, very timid, as was Murphy. And yeah, you looked at that first half and you thought they wanted it more than us. How is that the case, though? How is that the case when all the elements were in our favour, with the players that were missing, going to Old Trafford? Their confidence was low after getting beat at Aston Villa. They were worried about us coming to town. We should have been strutting in there with confidence, bullying them around, pushing them around like we did last Boxing Day. We bullied them last year. We should be going in with that same confidence. We didn't. We were timid. Didn't know what to do. It typified the first half that it took for us to go 1-0 down right before the break to go, oh, let's start playing. Just typical.
Yeah, it was so noticeable that when the 40-minute mark hit, that they started putting that effort and just to chase down and to show a bit of passion. It was like, is this a part of the playbook that when we get to 40 minutes, we give that extra effort to close out the half because you have the break coming at halftime? Is it like a James Bunce kind of thing? It was just because it was like from the 23 minutes to the 40 minutes, so 17 minutes exactly, nothing whatsoever of that kind of desire.
Yeah. Just to answer that from Dan, his view it wasn't skewed in any way. Ramsdale had sight of that ball. I'm not having that. That is poor goalkeeping. And even so, he gets his hand beyond where the ball ends up. He's got enough time to get a strong palm to that. He gets a touch on it, and his hand goes backwards, and it goes into the net. And it wasn't even a rocket strike. It wasn't hit with massive venom. So I'm Dan. Respectfully, I'm not with that.
Yeah, I've seen enough now to know that we need not Ramsdale, a new number one in the summer. It's not going to happen in January, but we need a new number one that is not Ramsdale. There's no point of buying Ramsdale for what we need going forward. So stick with Pope, but have him as the backup keeper and bring in a new number one for me. All right, let's get into the second half. Yes, halftime score obviously 1-0 at this stage. 46 minutes. Ramsey falls over himself after a nice, promising move. The ball for the back heel from Big Nick. One of the few things he did do in the game, but he kind of just falls over again. We saw it twice with him a couple of games back where this is before he was going to pull the trigger on the shot. We saw him twice before where he was kind of got into promising positions and he kind of fumbled again. It's just we just need he needs a bit of luck somewhere along the line. But Newcastle are starting to ask questions with some early second half corners and crosses into the box. We're all over them in the second half, but rare chance for them. 58 minutes. Sheshko hits the bar after Bruno loses the ball. Man United moved to a back five as they tried to soak up the pressure from Newcastle. 61 minutes. Hall, the best player on the pitch for me, hits the bar with a running shot, and a number of times he got through 3 or 4 players, to try and to start an attack. 62 minutes, there was a handball incident. Martinez had 2 hands on the ball after a sharp shot. VAR says no, and then we remind ourselves, yes, we are at Old Trafford, we're getting nothing. But that was, would you have given that, Pete?
The handball, I'll be honest with you, Daz, as soon as I saw the replay, I didn't think it was going to get given. Obviously, from my perspective, I'm calling for it. I'm wanting the pen. I think it was almost like we needed that to try and claw ourselves back into the game. But in all honesty, as soon as I saw the replay, I thought they're not going to give that. And it looked, and the reason being is because it looked like it came off his body then onto his hand. And normally they don't give it for that reason. The reason that the commentators gave was a ridiculous reason, a poor reason. By the way, it was like, because he was tussling with his man, Malik Chow, his arms were already high. And so therefore, when it hit his arms, it was like his arms were already in that position. That shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if his arms are up and it's affecting the ball, potentially going in on goal. It should still be handball because it's not in a natural position. If that's my interpretation of it anyway. So the reason that commentators gave was a poor reason, but I think the reason why they probably gave it was because it almost like it kind of hit here, then the arm. So it was like a double hit, 1, 2. And I think because of that, if it had gone and hit straight the arm up here, I think there'd have been maybe more of a call to give it. But when I saw the replay, I'll be honest, I wasn't really confident. That was just my initial thought.
I think we would have been damn lucky to get that. In fairness, really. Right, but Newcastle they had the dominance at that stage, and they needed to capitalize on that ASAP, but that was never to come. 66 minutes, Gordon has the ball across the goal as well. It was kind of a shot after a nice Newcastle move. It came to nothing. On comes the subs. Wisa comes on, Voltemeda comes off. Not going for 2 strikers up top on the 67 minutes. J7 on, Ramsey off, Barnes on, Murphy off. So Gordon stays on the pitch. Murphy comes on. Murphy didn't do much. He had 1 or 2 balls in the box, but didn't do much for me. Not enough anyway. So Barnes goes to right wing. Anything you want to say on the subs, Peter? Anything you like to comment there?
You know what, Daz? It pissed me off. I was pissed off, to be honest with you, with the subs. 1, because they probably could have been done 5 minutes earlier. Nothing really changed in the half. We had the possession. We weren't potent enough. Some players had ran their race. However, the reason why I'm peed off is that you remember a few years ago when we got Champions League and we had some tough games where we might have gone 1-0 down or 2-1 down and we were chasing the game. And we had maybe like a Wilson on and we went, you know what? Fuck this. Isaac, you're on as well. And we'll play around you and we'll get 2 attacking players in position to try and salvage something. And 9 times out of 10, it worked.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at these subs and I'm going, because you don't see who's actually coming off until they're already about to sit on the bench. And I'm like, hold on a second. we've just had a load of talk for a few days now with Nick Voltemada and Wisa potentially playing together, and they can play together and all this stuff. And then it's just like for like, I'm going, hold on a second. We're 1-0 down against Man United who are missing players, who are not very confident at the moment, that don't look like scoring. We're doing like for like. Really? Really, Eddie? Come on. I was not happy about that. Right? That should have been Nick Voltemada in the 10, Johan Wisa in and around the last man, and we should have been pumping balls into that box, and it should have been either Johan Wisa knocking it down for Nick Voltemada, or not Voltemada knocking it down for Wisa, with Joe Linton making runs into the box, which he did. I thought Joe Linton did all right when he came off the bench. I thought he added a little bit of power and a little bit of directness to our game. And I thought, I just don't get it. I don't get it. This like for like nonsense is driving me mad. It's driving me mad. Sometimes you've got to change tact. Sometimes you've just got to go for broke. Sometimes you've just got to play differently in order to try and get back into the game. Because I've been watching we're halfway through the season now. I've watched 18 games in the Premier League of Newcastle United. And it's just all the same. It's just like for like. It's around the same minutes every week. It's the same type of subs. And it just, I didn't like it. I'm sorry. I didn't like it. I mean, Barnes fine for Murphy. That's fine. You could have potentially took either winger off. Gordon maybe. You know what was interesting? Made me laugh actually, and I'm kind of going off track slightly. What made me laugh is Gordon had done absolutely nothing in that second half until about 2 or 3 minutes before when those subs stood and were ready to come on. You saw Barnes there, and you saw Wisa there, and Joe Linton there. All of a sudden, I just saw Gordon just being a little bit more busier. All of a sudden, he started taking on his man. All of a sudden, he started whipping balls into the box. And I just thought, you know what? That's nasty work, that is, from Anthony Gordon. That's nasty work. He's picking and choosing when he plays. He's picking and choosing. He thought he was going to get dragged. He thought it was going to be like for like Barnes, Gordon off. And he thought, I'm gonna turn it up. All of a sudden, he's making inside runs into the middle of the park and nearly getting on the end of stuff. He's putting balls into the box that we're getting dealt with, but was asking at least a question of his defender. He was then beating his man down the left-hand side. And it's like, hold on a second. Where was that in the first half when Lewis Hall was doing your job for you? Because I had people in the Mags Down South chat questioning Lewis Hall about, Lewis Hall playing poor tonight, this, that, and the other. And that's what they were saying to me. And I'm like, what? Lewis Hall's playing two-man's job. Lewis Hall was having to defend and attack Dorgu because Gordon just kept wandering. And it's just like, nah. I didn't like that. But that's a little sidewinder on Anthony Gordon. We'll probably come back to that. But yeah. I didn't like the
we can come on. He did turn up in the second half, but yeah, you're right. He did up his game because he even right before the subs he had that shot. It's definitely not his worst game for me though, Gordon. He's not and definitely not as good as he did play against Chelsea when we were at home. But yeah. Strange situation there, but anyway, let's move on. And back to you where I remember back about 2, could even be 3 years ago, where we were like 1-0 down at Brentford. This is back when Ivan Toney was banned, and then Bueno put them 1-0 up, and he does make that sub. Then he does bring on he has Isak and Wilson on the pitch, and we go on to win 2-1 or something like that. So I don't know why he won't gamble and go down that route, but maybe because we were kind of putting him under pressure, and he thought small fix, but that would leave us more open at the back. But he should have gambled at that, and I would have brought Wisa on at half time. If mine wait for 67 minutes, I would have tried that between minute 45 to 67, then take off Walter. Anyway, 72 minutes. Dalit, near the end of the other end. At least Weiss then is making some runs. There's movement in the box, something that we had not seen with Nick Voltemade. So then on 76 minutes, Tonali is off, who had a poor game for me, and Joe Willock is on. 79 minutes, J7, a tame shot after Gordon's pullback. It kind of wasn't exactly in the position that J7 wanted, but it's rare enough that for J7 that everything goes right when he's going to take a shot anyway.
A couple of things on that, Daz. Really quickly. I think that was absolutely, I'm trying to think of the right words. I think that was very fitting that we're chasing the game, we're 1-0 down, and Sandro Tonali comes off the pitch. I think that was absolutely fitting of his performance tonight and his recent performances. He has not been good. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's tactically. I don't know whether it's him mentally. I know his partner's due very, very soon to have their first child. Don't know whether that's playing a part. I don't know. I'm putting excuses out there in the stratosphere, but he is not good, and it was right to bring him off because he was not playing well at all. And I'll be honest with you, from an attacking point of view, I think even Joe Willock, who still wasn't amazing, did a lot more and offered a lot more in those attacking areas for that rest of the time he was on the pitch than Sandro did. And the second thing is the cutback. Joe Linton was absolutely fuming with Gordon afterwards, and rightly so, because that ball should have been played first time. Because if it was played first time, Joe Linton would have been able to get that ball and even take a touch to be able to properly put his foot behind it, because the ball was played late because he hesitated. Again, classic Newcastle United of what I've seen this season, typically. But I just wanted to throw those couple of points out there.
Yeah. All right, Newcastle keep knocking on heaven's door. See what I did there, but cannot unlock the Man United defense. 81 minutes, Willock shot saved from the right. 84 minutes, Gordon snapshot from a Barnes pullback went over. 90 minutes, Miley shot wide as he leaned back as he was shooting. Then 7 minutes went up on the board, but it came to nothing. Congratulations, it's Christmas. Congratulations to Man United on their victory. I don't think they would be, maybe they're proud of the performance because they're missing so many players, but at home under that much pressure as well, it's our fault. We should have at least got one to get a draw in this game, and should have really buried them in that second half. But any summarizing remarks, Pete?
Again, another abject, another embarrassingly poor attacking display from Newcastle United. I'm emphasising the attacking display because that is what's let us down today. Ultimately, Sky went for all the stats, touches in the box, big chances created, this, that, and the other, all being some of the most we've had this season, particularly away from home. But I'm sorry, I'm watching that game for 97 minutes and Newcastle United never really looked like scoring. There was never really a clear-cut chance. It was a great effort from Hall off the bar that was manufactured himself, not created by the team. We didn't conjure up anything of any real note that made me think that we were ever going to get back in that game. And that, for me, has been a constant feeling watching Newcastle United this season, is that watching them play, they just never look like really scoring. You know, they'll have moments, and I'm emphasising away from home because we can score goals at St James's Park. The fans almost kind of suck the ball into the net at times. I'm talking about away from home. Now, this squad of players should be good enough to go and put teams to the sword away from home. They should have been good enough tonight to go to Old Trafford with the players that we had available and conjure up 2 or 3 major big chances to win that game, to make Lamans work and make a big save. And he hasn't. He's had a pretty comfortable night, if I'm being honest with you. He wasn't really tested. And we know that Man United can see goals at Old Trafford because we watched Bournemouth go and score 4. Bournemouth that are currently below us in the league. So there's no excuse there. And I'm getting really kind of fed up with these attacking performances because we're seeing players that we're being told are top players, like Anthony Gordon, for example, like players like Sandro Tonali, players like Bruno Guimaraes. And I maybe take Bruno Guimaraes off that because he does try to create and does create moments. Jacob Murphy as well, throw him in there. And they're just not, the final ball is just so bad. It's so bad. Now, I don't know whether it's just because of bad delivery, because a lot of time it is, or whether it's the lack of understanding on the pitch, whether it's the lack of movement. And a few people in the chat, we'll come to it in a second, and I have seen the super chat, so I'm going to come to them first and get Daz's opinion on some of these that are being thrown out. What I'm seeing is like just a lack of understanding in the final third of what we actually need to do. Like there's balls being played in low on the ground to the near post, and we've got strikers running to the back post. So there's no understanding there. Like there's balls being played to the back post, and there's nobody there to win the header, or they're being played like at medium height and just easily getting defended out. Like we should have an understanding of when a ball is in a certain situation. This is where you need to be making the runs. This is where you need to be. Like the chance with Barnes and Gordon, where Gordon puts it over the bar. Barnes should never, ever be squaring that. You trust Harvey Barnes in that position to have a shot on goal because he's probably one of your only players on the pitch at that moment that is going to get you a goal. So to square that back to Gordon, who, for me, and I've said it time and time again, is one of the worst finishers in the club. He's great at taking a penalty, but in game, his finishing is not great. He is an instincts man. He is not someone that can tactically put something in a position in game. And it was a dreadful shot. And it's things like that. We need to be making better decisions on the pitch. There was another one towards the end of the game. Miley, the ball gets brought down. Miley's in the middle of the goal. And he kind of turns on a swivel and hits it with his left foot. Harvey Barnes is screaming for the ball on the edge of the box or just inside the box. Free. All he has to do is just lay it back to him and he's got a free shot on goal. And it's that. It's the decision-making of the team, the quality and the execution of the final ball to be able to put the cross in or the final pass or the shot that's going to score the goal. We continually make big mistakes in those moments. Yes, we had more possession, but actually, we played into Man United's hands. Man United wanted it counter-attack second half. Why do you think they made the changes that they did? They went more defensive and went, we're winning. Come break us down. And you know what? Man United were confident that we wouldn't break them down because you know what? In many a game, particularly away from home this season, we haven't broke teams down. Yes, we won at Everton, but that's an anomaly. You look at every other game away from home, we struggle to break teams down. So Man United, we can throw out all the possession. I don't know what Eddie Howe said after the game, but he can say, "Oh, we dominated. We had all these passages of play, etc., etc." But what he'll be forgetting is that that's what Man United wanted. Ruben Amorim played for that they could hit us on the counter, that they could recycle the ball, bang, straight out on the counter because we're going to throw men forward. We literally played into their hands, but they knew. Man United knew that we were not going to break them down. And I'll be honest with you, I had little confidence that we were going to do it. And the longer the game went on, that game seemed to go very quick. That second half did, by the way. It seemed to fly by. And the reason being is because it was so boring, so predictable. Pass, sideways pass, work it to the left. Oh, no one wants to progress a pass and play between the lines? Okay, we'll pass. We'll go on the right-hand side. Try and break the lines. No. Okay, pass. Let's try and break. It's just, there was nothing new. It was all predictable. Man United could sit in their block, know what's going to be expected, and just deal with it. And we have to have something different. We need a different approach, a different option of player. and a different way of playing if we're going to pick up points away from home this season.
We had this in the season, like we're at the season between where we're in the Champions League and where we had all the injuries, and we had that at that time, like it had worked the previous season. It was Trips and Miggy, and it was everything was going down that right hand side, and everything was working perfectly. And then nothing worked down that right hand side, and Trips went AWOL, as we know, and it just we didn't have a different way of playing, and it now it's just everything is trying to go through Bruno or Hall. Hall's trying to be creative as well. There's no other, or a Murphy swinging the ball in. There's nothing else happening there, and it is way too predictable. Right, that's the game, guys. Will you look at some comments, Pete?
Yes, we will come to the super chats first. 1 second. So, well, first of all, big thanks to Howe Mats. Thank you for your super chat. Top stuff. There is no branding saving you from Anfield, Stamford Bridge. I think he means Etihad and Emirates still to go. Mind the gap. So yeah, definitely putting the stick in the boot into us, Daz there. How Max is, but he's right. One thing we've not talked about, they are some of our away games still to come this season. Thoughts
are the same as I've had since the West Ham game. Again, up and down, we get you get one win, and you look at the table and you go, oh, look, if we could win the next two, we're up there, and it's a lie because it's not happening. Because we have an away game coming next there. Unless we play all the rest of our games at home, we don't stand a chance getting top 5 and into the Champions League for me. So that's why I said after the West Ham game, it's going to be one of those seasons up and down, and we're not getting anywhere near it. And it is. I'm still looking at it now, and it's still looking close. But it's not. Forget about it. Don't be fooling yourself, thinking that we're going to get in there. For me, everyone has their own opinion. That's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, just to add on that, for me, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 defeats in there because Newcastle United have given me no hope that we can go to any one of those 4 grounds and get anything this season. So no Brandy is going to save me from that, and no tea is going to save Daz from that either. And we'll be probably sitting here. Yeah, we'll be probably sitting here.
Water in a cup. That's what I normally have.
Water.
Wolves might save us. Leamington is saying Wolves got it back. Well, we might need that, or you could have the revival. You never know.
Well, we've got Burnley to come next, away from home at Turf Moor, and I have no idea what to feel about that game. I've got no idea what to feel about that game. But let's move on. Sophie, thank you for being a member. Oh, sorry, Daz. Thank you, Sophie, for being a member for 8 months, and she simply puts How out. Sophie, we'll come back to that one, and we'll have that conversation after we just go through the super chats. But we will have that conversation. Have Matt's again. How do you set up counter-attack with Nick Waltermada, and then spam crosses with Wisa? It's an interesting point, Daz, because we were very much counter-attacking the first half with Waltermada, and then in that last part of the game, certainly the last 15 minutes, there were more crosses coming into the box, and Jan Wisa did get his head on a few of them. And which Nick Waltermada did not. Thoughts, mate?
He tried the acrobatics at one stage as well. He tried to get to something. As I said, we wanted Wisa to start this one, but especially with us being 1-0 down at half time, I would have had Wisa on the pitch in whatever capacity, whether it meant taking off Nick Waltermada then or leaving both of them on. I would have left both of them on for a while just to try and give Man United something else to think about. If Nick Waltermada can't last the past the 67-minute mark, then take him off. But you never know. We might have brought ourselves back into the game at that stage, and we get to see what if we ever get to see this, what they're like with the two of them playing together. But yeah, it leads to the other points that other people are making in the chat, I think. But your thoughts here on this one, Pete?
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. What I will say within that is that, and I've mentioned it before recently, is Nick Voltemada has a real issue with winning headers. I'm talking in game as well. The amount of time the ball goes up in the air and long, and he'll run into position, but won't contest the header. He literally just stands there, and the defender wins it quite comfortably every time, even though he's taller. And all he needs to do is just jump for it, and he gets a flick on, or he flicks the head on. He does it for defensive moments, and obviously it was a poor defensive moment he did in the game tonight. But in attacking areas, I don't see the point in putting balls into the box into his head. I know he scored a couple of headers this season, but he doesn't look like he even wants to contest them unless they're bang on a plate for him. He doesn't want to get into position to contest them. And I'm looking at Wissa, and Wissa won like 3 or 4 in that second half, in that just 15-minute spell. And you can see he gets right up and he gets a good leap on him, and he's contesting it with the centre-back. Even if it's like a little nod down, he'll try and contest it and get something on it. We need Nick to do that, because he's got the height and the strength and the advantage to really unsettle centre-backs. I need a little bit more aggression from him. There seems to be a real lack of aggression from him. He seems very timid on the ball, even today, like holding up play. Like he just gets brushed off it so easily. And he just needs to be stronger. He needs to use his body to protect the ball a bit more. We need to get some work into him with that, because, you know, when you're a target man and when you're 6'7", like, you need to be strong. You need to be physical. You need to put yourself about. You need to make it difficult. And he just doesn't seem to be doing it right now. But we'll move on. How much as well? Again, Eddie Bingo, Barnes for Murphy, Walt for Wissa, Ramsey for J7. We talked about it before, Daz. Like for like. What's your thoughts on the like for like?
At 67 minutes in the game, when we need to do something different, like I'm thinking, even take yourself. If you've ever played a computer game, never mind playing a professional or a real game, you try to do something different. You're 1-0 behind. You're going to try and do something different. You're bringing on an extra attacker, not this like for like business. And I wouldn't have taken Gordon off at that time. I think he made the right decision. Murphy wasn't doing anything for me, so I'm glad he took him off and brought on Barnes. But yeah, we need to get Barnes on the pitch because he's good for a goal first. But as I said, I would have tried Wissa and Nick Voltemada at halftime. That was the time to try both of them and go for this game. If we concede another, so be it. At least we've tried. But I just not. And he knows as well. In the past, we've seen this in the Derby game. It didn't work out, like for like. So, I don't know.
Just been the story of our season. Unfortunately, it just continues to be the same. Another one from D. Grimshaw. I know you're both Howe to the end of the season, and this brings on to a bigger topic where lots of others have put comments in. We'll put them up on the screen in just a second. But come on, it's time for a change. He's either clueless, too stubborn, or both. So boring to watch. We've talked about it, you know, like for like subs, same tactics. You know, we've both mentioned now about Nick Voltemada and Wissa should really have stayed or been on the pitch together for at least a short period of time in that match to see if it could change the game in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't. Should it be the case that those decisions get made sooner with regards to Eddie Howe, or is it still the case that he stays to the end of the season, Dad?
I'm going to say what I said before. People, 66 or more % of the chat won't like it, but I'm sticking with Eddie Howe until the end of the season, or till we're out of everything. And if we're out of everything, out of the Carabao Cup, obviously that's March if we were to get to the final. But with Man City to get past there first. Home and away ties, not just home, and FA Cup, Champions League, and we're well down out of the running for European positions, because that's the way it's playing out, because we cannot win away. So when I say end of the season or before that, if we're out of everything, then I am happy for Eddie for us to call time on Eddie's time with us, and it's this season and away from home will have been our downfall. He's got a chance in the transfer window to do something here, but for me, he has to bring in a striker. We need another striker because. I don't think Nick Volley can play 2 games together. That's why I said alternate them and bring on start Wisa tonight. But he's not going to then having 3 strikers on our books, because I think Asula's going to go. Is he still only going to, if we're 1-0 down again, is he still only going to have one on the pitch? It's a waste of time as well. So I'm edging closer to the day that this happens, but I'm sticking with Eddie Howe until such time as we're out of it.
Yeah, look, it sounds like a broken record, but nothing's going to change. I just, unless we go on a run where we lose a significant amount of games. So if we were to lose the next 3 or 4, for example, and some of these next 3 or 4 are absolutely winnable in the Premier League, then I don't see a decision being made. However, Eddie Howe should be under pressure with this away form the way it is. This is not like it's rinse and repeat, and it's becoming expected now from his team. This is not good. I don't know if anyone in the chat saw it. I don't know if you saw it, Daz, but it showed images of the players clapping the fans at the end. And you look at Bruno Guimaraes and he looks absolutely fuming. He's almost like it's disbelief. You could see it on his face. It looked almost like disbelief, like, how have we lost this game? How have we come here in that moment and lost this game? And he looks like he genuinely looked like he couldn't believe it. He looks so angry that they've lost this game. And I don't put it on Bruno. I thought Bruno was okay. I thought Bruno tried to drive us forward. You know, he wasn't in any particular positions to score a goal, but he was certainly one of our better players in that game. And I just, I kind of felt for him. I felt for him because he can see the vision. I think he knows how Newcastle United fans are feeling right now. I think he knows what we're going through right now. And the reason being is because I feel like Bruno Guimaraes feels what Newcastle United fans feel. I think he understands us. I think he knows and feels football in the same way. I have question marks about some of our players and whether they do. I'm not sure some of these Newcastle players, not all of them, but some of them feel the same way, feel the importance of what's going on right now. Because we're going to be 3 more points down on a number of teams above us after the games tomorrow, because some of those teams are going to go on and win again. And it's going to mean more points to claw back. For me, like, Champions League football's gone. Like, it was gone a while ago, but it's definitely gone now, losing games like this. And I'll be honest with you, I think Europa Conference is the best we'll probably get this season, because we are so inconsistent. We can't win away from home. We're up and down from week to week. We don't know what we're getting from our Newcastle United team. And that isn't a team that can get European football. It's too inconsistent. And you know what? If we don't get European football this season, in the most inconsistent Premier League season that so many teams have had, I think will be just an absolute joke. I think it's embarrassing for the outlay that we've had, for the money that we've invested. We haven't had many injuries. We've got a lot of injuries in defence at the moment. Felt fine, but in terms of the team, we haven't had massive amounts of injuries like other clubs have. But yet we still can't put performances together. For me, I think that's embarrassing if we don't get any form of European football. And I think there's a real chance that we don't. I think there's a chance that Eddie Howe goes eggs in the cut basket to try and secure European football, which is a tough ask against Man City. And we've already got a tough start against Bournemouth, who are a difficult team. Can't beat them. I think there's a real worry that this season could peter out and end up being nothing. And I think Eddie Howe should be under pressure to get results. And just to add, in fact, I'll leave it for now. That's where I'm at.
I didn't see the clapping at the end of the game because I had it turned off at that stage, and I even turned my Christmas tree off at halftime. But these games coming, Burnley away at Burnley. Who knows what we're going to get? At home against Crystal Palace. Again, Crystal Palace are strong, and even though we're at home, that's a very tough game for us. Or at home against Leeds. That's 2 home games together. Then, as you mentioned, Bournemouth, the team in the FA Cup third round. We can never beat Bournemouth. We almost, the best we do is draw with Bournemouth, and then into the League Cup. Yeah, not fun times ahead.
It really isn't. It really isn't. And the thing about it is, we're going to get. There's a high. I don't see us getting automatic in the Champions League. So then what makes it worse is that we're going to have an extra 2 games on top of that in the Champions League. And it's probably going to be against a top side. So then you're going to have 2 more games you're going to have to exert a lot of energy into. 2 more midweek games that you're going to have to play on top of a semi-final, on top of tough Premier League games. Our end to January and our February is horrific. And so in that, you're adding then 2 more playoff games of Champions League football. You go, Jesus Christ. That could be a make or break. And it kind of adds to the point I was going to make a second ago, and I kind of held off. But it's given me an opportunity to talk about it now. When Newcastle United say that they're going to be active, but not massively active. I think changes need to be made. I think they need to be more bold in the January window. I think players actually just need to be moved on, and they need to maybe get a couple of players that they plan to get in the January window, and maybe 1 player that they probably plan to get next summer. And I would be pushing to get that player in January to try and make a change in this team. Something needs to happen. There needs to be significant, at least 1 significant reinforcement that gives this team a boost, a kick, a bit of something new. Because just signing squad players to sit behind Lewis Hall or a midfielder that probably isn't going to get in ahead of Tonali and Bruno isn't quite enough. We need someone that's going to come in and make a difference and come in and start games for Newcastle United. Whether it's a winger, whether it's a striker, whether it's someone that can play in the pocket in a midfield 3, but play in the pocket as a sort of a number 10. Someone needs to come in to make a difference, because we're snowballing into a nightmare season for Newcastle United, and it's not good.
But it is the only thing is as well that it is all set up around Eddie Howe. The way with the we talked about before, and I know people complained about what we were saying as well about like Ross Wilson. I think he's intrinsically linked to Eddie Howe. He's got him in there as his man. We know what happened with Paul Mitchell, and we know what with Dan Ashworth, what happened there. But he hasn't even had a transfer window to work with them yet. And that's the kind of scary thing. You don't want to for them to go off. And I know when they're making signings, it's for the club. It's not really exactly, or sorry, it's not just the manager's call on who to bring in, but if we are walking towards Eddie Howe gone in the summer, we need to be careful what we do in we're not just bringing players in like what Eddie wants, like a tall lad that's played in the Premier League before. It has to tick more than those boxes. It has to be thinking for Newcastle into the future, no matter who the manager is. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in January as we get very close to the transfer window open.
Yeah. Oh my God! Right. Some other comments coming in here. I think there's another super chat. How Max is he's trolling us right now, and I'm assuming he's a Man United fan, so maybe rightly so. Dwight McNeil getting Eddie cooking. Let's
Premier League and Taun.
Yes, let's not do that. Absolutely not. Get your other comments in your opinions on all things Newcastle United. We've had some good super chats in. I'll come back to Sophie's. Probably it was how out as well. Do you genuinely think he's going to leave at the end of the season?
I think that the pressure it piles on. If we take our audience as a sample set, right? Okay, no, I know it was just after we were 30, 2 weeks before the Derby game. We were 30. It was 33% wanted Eddie out. Then right directly after the Derby game, which is, I know it's not the right time to run a poll, but our chat was 66% Eddie out. I think tonight you'd probably be up there on the same kind of figures again. But if we continue to sleepwalk into a really poor season and not be in Europe again, not be in Europe next year and have been out and everything have been a disaster and still not able to win away from home, the questions definitely need to be asked, even though we're all set up around Eddie Howe. I think you pointed it towards Pete about, let's say, the England job becomes available and he goes to that. It's kind of an ideal situation for Eddie Howe. Then he might think, get out here now while I can. At least then my stock is still high after whenever I finish with England, and then I can go get another Premier League job because he's not going to go to Europe. Yeah, but it'll be a massive call. I don't know if they're ready to take that yet. That call, or will we go into another season? Do we start next season? I think if all those scenarios play out, I don't want to see us starting the season and then making a change in manager. I think that would just ruin another season.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think this other comment from Sophie was important as well. Anyhow, I think this was the embargoed bit of the press conference that came out today. I think 99.5 is that 99.5 or 99.9? I can't remember the exact, but I will go with what Sophie said. I won't be here for the new stadium and new training ground. No, mate, you hopefully won't be here in the new year. So obviously we know Sophie's thoughts on that. But do you think that was quite telling as well? Obviously, we're still on the Eddie Howe conversation, Daz, but yeah, I think that's an important point to make as well, because I'll be honest with you, that's the first time that I've listened to Eddie Howe and gone, oh, okay, that's different. It's the first time he's openly talked about not being at the club.
Yeah, I didn't know whether to take it. I took it two different ways. One that he having a bit of a dig at, you're not putting anything out about what's happening with the training ground, never mind the stadium, and that because he was kind of joking a bit when he said it, because I did see the clip of it then as well. But yeah, he is right. If and when they do decide to make to build a new stadium, it's going to take a number of years to be there, and he can't continue in this fashion and still remain. He'd have to have to be picking up a few more trophies for that to happen as well. So that was a bit flippant, but at the same time, it's also he's been a bit of a realist as well. That he'll be well gone. I think we'll have a few managers come and gone by that time.
Yeah. For me, I think I think he's right. I think he knows that he won't be here to see a new training ground or stadium in. And it's interesting because a training ground will probably be between 2 or 3 years to make if it gets announced now. So he doesn't really see himself here in 2 or 3 years' time. That I thought was quite telling in itself. The stadium, I'm not surprised because stadium can take anywhere between 5 and 10 years to be made. I'd probably say more of around between 5 and 7 with planning, acceptance, building work starting, etc., etc. It can take anywhere until around that sort of number. And beyond being honest, I don't expect him to be around 5 to 7 years at Newcastle United with the way it's going on. There's other comments on here as well that I'll just throw out. Jason Scott said Eddie's toothless mags. Clock's definitely ticking now. That was his opinion on that. You got Daniel that said Howe ball is over. His decision not to buy technicians when we can't break a low block has set the team back. He's taken us as far as he can, but is now taking us backwards. So I think it's a really good point. That's jump in on that, and I'll jump in.
It is looking that way. All directions are pointing that way. He needs to now go on something he did last season. Remember, he did it last season, but go on a massive run. Before earlier it would be nice, but now it's essential for him to turn this around. And he needs, sick of saying it at this stage, he needs for us to start winning away from home. We have no excuse. We're not like missing a whole lot of players through injury now or anything. And we have 2 strikers. His excuses are not there for him to use. Apart from the odd defender, but we're good to go. We're well capable and good enough to be winning these games away from home.
Yeah, absolutely. We absolutely should. This is a conversation we had 2 years ago. Well, I know I brought it to the table to you and Chris a couple of years ago, maybe longer than that. When I said, and it wasn't to you guys particularly, it was actually to the chat, and it was around the conversation of the likes of Sean Longstaff. And I asked the chat over 2 years ago. I said, "What do you want?" Because people were wanting Longstaff in the team and wanting him to start, etc., etc. And I was asking the question. I said, "What do you want? Do you want athletes? Do you want runners, or do you want people that are technically gifted to come in that might not run all day for you, but have got the technical ability to make a difference in matches?" And I think one of the best arguments I can give you right now is what we're seeing. Excuse me, is what we're seeing between Anthony Gordon and Harvey Barnes. Is that Anthony Gordon's a runner, he's an athlete, he's quick, he's electric quick, he's got great pace, running in behind, he'll run all day because he's got a great engine. Harvey Barnes hasn't got that. Harvey Barnes is quick, he's not slow, but he's not lightning quick like Gordon. Technically, his crossing is better. Technically, he's a better shooter. Technically, he's actually a good passer of the ball. Maybe not in long distances, short spaces. He's got intelligent in movement. He knows how to pick up the right places to be on the end of things. Technically, he's a better player. And this is what we're looking at. Like, we can't just have all runners, all athletes. You look at the players that came off the bench. Joe Linton. You look at Joe Willock. They're athletes. They're runners. They're not technicians. Like, that's what we're bringing onto the pitch. And I just look at that and I think we're missing something. We're missing that technical brilliance. We're missing that little bit of a, I'm using him as an example, but I'm not, if that makes sense. When we go on.
No. I get what you're saying, and it's a good similarity as an option for us. When we're talking about the left wing there, but you're talking about the same thing, but in midfield to unlock someone there, like where because we're relying so much on Bruno to unlock everything, and Hall tried his best as well today to unlock like. And I still want to give Ramsey a chance and stuff like that, but he hasn't unlocked anything yet for us. And like if we're playing with one holding midfielder in Tonali who hasn't turned up properly today for us, so that's again another separate conversation. But we need, it can't be all Bruno. Everything can't go through Bruno, even though he's the one that the only one that has had any success with it. We need another option there, and that goes back to what you said before. Yeah, yourself and Chris were adamant that we need to get another midfielder in there, someone a bit more creative in there, and I guess. Where we? No, I won't even go down that route. But we need something. We need someone in there as a different option. And we've talked as well now that Willock is getting game time, and he's proved that he's not falling over anymore and going off injured. He's hopefully someone does come in and purchase him, so then we can maybe go after that signing, but. I don't want to be waiting. Like there's so many games in January that the season is over if we don't. Yeah. We need to act straight away, and we know at Newcastle that never happens. So we are on this path. And everyone in the chat is seeing this as well. So that's why they're jumping ahead of the game and going how out, because they know they can see this is coming. But frustrating, isn't it?
It is like, looking at players. Like I was going to use the example of like an ASM or a Hatem Ben Arfa, someone that they're not traditional workhorses as individual players, but they would create something out of nothing that would allow us to get back into the game. They've got a little bit of unpredictability to them. Someone that can create and bring opportunity. There's no surprise, Daz, that we've been linked with the likes of Keith Smith and Bilal El-Khanous, and even to a different perspective, like Ruben Neves, is that although those players are different in their positional play, like obviously Keith Smith and El-Khanous are both midfielders, like more attacking midfielders, is that all three of them are creative. They're creative in different ways. Ruben Neves is a set piece taker. He can score from distance. He can pluck out a goal from 25 yards and put it in the top bins that can get you into a game or win you a game. He's, Keith Smith is someone that likes to get on the board in the final third and make passes happen and make connections. Bilal El-Khanous is someone that can play in the pocket and make chances and create opportunities. I'm just using those players as examples, but that type of signing, I'm not surprised that we're linked with them, because that's what we are missing in this team. We are really missing that element of a player, and that type of a player would be able to change a game like tonight. And that's the biggest frustration about it all. And that's why I think Daniel's point is really, really important. And it goes back to a conversation we've had a good few years ago. And it just seems like signing all of these athletes is starting to bite us on the backside now, because we've been able to not get away with it. We've been able to manage it before, but the Premier League's changed. The Premier League clubs have changed. Everyone's progressed. And it feels like we haven't. It feels like we've stayed the same and just kind of continued on the same path. But other teams have upped their levels. And it's almost like in some cases, we've set the blueprint for what's needed. When we first came onto the scene and got Champions League football, we set a new blueprint that a lot of other teams, even including Aston Villa, have gone on to do. But those teams have been able to do it slightly better than us. And that's a bit of a problem. It's a problem, and we need to change tact. We need to move and move differently. And a lot of people in the chat said about Eddie Howe, oh, he's not willing to change. He's not willing to make this difference and that difference. He's going to have to. He's going to have to. If he wants to save this season, If he wants this season to be seen as a memorable one in one way, shape, or form, he has to start making changes, and he has to start looking a little bit more inside himself. And I read these comments, Daz. Jordan Cronin just put out some comments from Eddie Howe. And it was a question about his poor away form. And Eddie Howe said, we're not ducking the issue and not trying to be clever, but I just think we need to look at performances in isolation. Whether they're home or away, it's irrelevant, really. I think it's about what the team's identity is on that day and how it plays. If it's home or away, for me, I don't really care. So you look back to the Chelsea game, and for 45 minutes, we were excellent. Everything that we want to be. Today, for the second half, I think we were as good without the goals. So I think we're closer, I'd say, for me, than we've been before this season. We've still got areas to improve. What do you make of those comments, Daz?
Some of it I agree with. Some of it I think is bollocks. The bit I agree with first is you look back at the Chelsea games, in 45 minutes, we were excellent. I agree with that. Today, for the second half, we were good without scoring the goals. Now, we could not unlock them, though, obviously, because we didn't score. But this thing, I think it's about what the team's identity is on the day and how it plays. I'm sick of that shit. I'm really sick of that line gets spun out every time in different ways, and it's papering over the thing. And I don't know what he's saying here about it doesn't matter if it's home or away, because it obviously fucking does, because we cannot buy an away win apart from the Everton game. When we are playing at home, it is like we have a third striker when we are at home, and we're able to score goals. When we go, why did it take us today 17 minutes for that reaction? What was that all that about? Yeah, we're on top. They were on top of us for the first 10 minutes. We were on top of them for the next 10 minutes. They score. We do absolutely zero for 17 minutes. Then it's like a switch. With the last 5 minutes before halftime, we start playing a bit like what we'd see at home. We're running at everything. We're chasing down everything. We're putting in the tackles. We're winning the ball back. And why did we have to wait those 17 minutes for us to do that? That's the bit I can't get. But what's your thoughts on what he said here?
I don't like what I've heard. I don't like what I've heard at all. From hold on, I'm just gonna get rid of someone that's just spamming.
They're gone.
Okay, good, excellent. He's saying the fact that he starts with "we're not ducking the issue" means that he's ducking the issue, because he's not telling us the real situation. Right? He can go on and say, look, he said we need to look at the performances in isolation. No, we don't. This is not an isolated performance. This is a performance we've seen time and time again this season. So I don't agree with that. We've seen this performance before. We've seen this abject, embarrassing, attacking performance before. You could go back as far as Aston Villa on the first game of the season, and we gave him grace for that because of the exact situation. We gave them grace for a real poor attacking performance. We gave them grace for a poor attacking performance away at Leeds United. We gave them grace for that. What we cannot give grace for is since that Brentford, West Ham. We can't give them grace for that. That's not acceptable. Now Manchester United. We can't give them grace for that. They're not isolations. I've just given you, 4 or 5 examples. There's probably others in other games over the course of the season where I've not even talked about and even got onto the Champions League games. You cannot say this is in isolation. It's ridiculous. He says, I think it's about the team's identity on that day and how it plays. I'm sorry, Eddie, but you set that team up. You put those players on the pitch and you set the style of play. So basically, I just get from that what he's saying is the identity and how he plays is on him. So why are you not changing it? If the identity's wrong and the style of play is not right, then you have to take the blame for that. And you have to hold yourself to account, which I don't believe that he's doing. But that then goes into and feeds into our point about the fact that, change it up. Put Voltemada and Wissa on together. Change your style, change your tactics. Put it on and do something a little bit different. Just use it again. Just clowns being clowns. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just think these comments are really not good. It says, so you look back at the Chelsea game, 45 minutes were excellent. Well, why was it only 45 minutes? Why couldn't we continue that on? Everything that we want to be. Yes, of course, that 45 minutes is what we used to do for 90 minutes. What's changed? Why is that still the issue that we can only perform like that for half a game? I remember having the same conversations under Sir Bobby Robson. Is that we only were able to play for 45 minutes. And that ended up with, as much as people regret it now, that ended up with Sir Bobby Robson losing his job. Because it started to happen in the season before his last season at the club, only turning up 45 minutes. Sometimes it was a good 45 minutes that we won the game, but it was only 45 minutes. Now, the same thing's happening again. And it says, for the second half, I think we were good without the goals. Well, what's the point in playing the way you're playing if you're not going to score goals? What is the point of only playing up to 90% and then in the final 10%, the 10% that matters, that affects the game, you're not performing? You can't even marry that up with Chelsea, because with Chelsea, we put 2 in the back of the net and we could have had 4 or 5 before half time. How is that? It just seems like it's full of excuses. And I've not really seen this from Eddie Howe before. These performances are not good. I would have expected him to be a little bit more honest in that and say, look, yes, we were good up until the final third, but that performance in the last final third is not good enough. I would have expected that from him, because it isn't. And it's something we've seen continuously. So I'm looking at those comments and I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like the body language. I don't like the approach that he's having of a manager. I'll be honest with you, it smacks of a manager that probably really will walk away in the summer. I genuinely believe. I'm starting to feel like that more and more every day, every game that passes. I'm starting to feel like, regardless of where we end up, is that he'll walk. I think in his mind, he feels like he's taking this team as far as he can. I don't think it'll be a case of him getting sacked. I think it'll be a case of that he'll walk unless there's drastic changes, which I don't see. And Daz, you mentioned about the fact that, if we go on another run is what's needed to be able to claw back. I can't see it. I really can't see us going on a run, mate. I really don't.
Neither can I. And we can come on here and do the typical YouTuber thing you see of loads of channels shouting and roaring and kind of Eddie out. This we're trying to be objective and give him the best chance possible here to claw it out, but he's not making it easy, and it's not going his way. I don't know. This January window. What happens there?
Can you see how? Honestly, that how many sides can you see?
Will he bring in loans, Pete? Will he change his mind on loans? Because that's something we've never seen. As you pointed out, what Villa did last summer. They brought in some loan players, and it kind of boosted. They didn't get Champions League, but they got European football, and they've kicked on this season. They've changed things about again. Sorry, go on. Get in with your comments there, Pete. Sorry.
No. This is one of the things I was going to say is that, look, I need to see signings come through. I agree. We've been saying it for how many January windows now? Bring in loan signings. You look at what Villa did last season, and they were able to maintain Premier League. They went on a run of unbeaten in 10 games in the back end of the season. I think they went on a run of 6 wins in a row because they added loans. They added Asensio and Rashford. As much as whether we rate those players or not, those players turned up in big moments and won them games and affected games for Aston Villa. And they were loan signings. And they were expensive ones, which affected them PSR related. But we could find loans that wouldn't affect us in PSR. We could find loans with, loans with an obligation or a loan with a view. That's what I want to see, Daz. I'm not against the loan. We're not against loans. We've been banging on about it for ages now. But we need to go in there and get loans with obligations or loans with a view of players that can come in and affect this team. And it means that we can move certain players out. So I'm looking at Willock. I'm looking at looking at Willock, looking at Kraft as potentials, looking at Asula. There's 3 there. Lascelles, who's barely getting into the squad. And he's going to be gone in the summer. There's 4 players you can get their wages off the bill. You can get transfer fees for definitely 2 of them in Willock and Asula. And you're moving those guys on and you're able to then reinvest. And there's potentially, that's 4 positions or 4 players that you could potentially work with. And that could maybe significantly improve the team. If you're bold, there's an opportunity here. Because this is not about, we need to be careful of money. They might not want to spend a lot of money, but they could if they wanted to. But getting loans in, to go back to your point, Daz, allows us to not have to have a huge outlay, but you're still getting the quality of player in, and you might be then pushing that to the end of the season. But you'd much rather push that to the end of the season knowing that maybe we've picked up a trophy, maybe we've got European football again, or something of that ilk where at least then it's mattered and it's meant something.
It's short-term thinking, but it could save your job.
Yeah,
by doing this,
absolutely, and it could save our season. More importantly, because that's a
good example here. Look at Grealish at Everton, and I from one did want Grealish at Newcastle because I just thought it wouldn't work with him. But maybe I've judged him wrongly.
He's the spark though, Daz. He's not a workhorse, but in those one-on-one moments, those attacking areas, he knows how to beat a man and he knows how to create. And that's the difference. Is that player might not be all singing, all dancing athlete, but they know how to make a difference in your team. And sometimes managers have to make changes to affect winning matches and to affect getting results on the board. And that's what I think maybe Eddie Howe's not getting right now. I think Eddie Howe is a very stubborn man. I think we've always known that. But I think his stubbornness is really starting to impact on what's happening on the pitch. And I think he does need to make changes. He doesn't have to rip up the rule book, but he maybe has to rip the corner of a page slightly and make a change in some way, shape, or form to offer something different.
Surely he's learned as well from the way things ended for him at Bournemouth, because it's a totally different situation. He can mix and match and trade in this transfer window. He has that lifeline to try and to turn the corner here, because if he doesn't, and I know there's multiple factors to getting transfers over the line as well, but if he doesn't, he looks like he's gone in the summer, and in some ways it'll be his own. Well, a lot of ways it'll be his own downfall. He couldn't control certain things, but the silence he brought in and his stubbornness and not deviating from his own plan. Look, even Amarin today when started with 4 at the back. So, and he was saying that's what they brought me in for. I'm not changing it, but he had no choice in the end with AFCON. So
just to give you a stat that is not great. Manchester United's victory over Newcastle is their first in the Premier League without Bruno Fernandes since their 3-2 win over Tottenham in March 2022. Manchester United have played 6 Premier League matches without Fernandes in the period between that victory over Spurs and the win over Newcastle United. Is their first. They lost 5 and drew the other. We always seem to be that team, don't we? We all seem to be Dr. Newcastle.
Breakers.
Here to serve everybody else. There's some other comments, Daz. I apologise because I mentioned that you might be a Man United fan. I thought he was trolling us, but he's one of us. He's black and white since '93. So yeah, join the club because I am. I'm the same. But he's just pissed off like the rest of us. So I hear that, my friend. He's also put in, and thanks for your super chats tonight, Matt. It has been absolutely spot on. I'd kill for Ben Arthur back. That little
luck, yeah.
Someone of unique quality. Another one, Daz here, from Gallagher Brown. Love Eddie. Going backwards now. It's time to go. A point that a few people have made in the chat as well. So thank you for your super chats that have popped up already. Come to them. I'll throw a few things at you, Daz. Some of them we've already covered on in our starred section. So yeah, if we're not come to your comment, we may well have starved it. We are starved of points, but I may have starred it. This one here, Daz. 7 goals away from home, and 4 of them came in one game against Everton. What's your thoughts on that, mate? Because I when I've just seen that's just popped up a second ago, I was stunned at that.
I don't know. I don't know where to begin with that one. And I'm reluctant to jump on the Eddie out train because I've said I want to give him till the end of the season. So I'm not going to go down that way. I'm going to give him every possible chance. But as I said earlier, it's not making it easy. But that's a disgrace. That kind of stat there.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Surely the first thing you do is go buy a striker in January, or loan one even.
Yeah, we need one, and it's weird to say that we've got Nick Voltemada, we've got Johan Risa, but we need one. And I think the reason why I think we need one, Daz, is because so we can play Nick Voltemada and Risa, and we've still got then an option off the bench, so we can play a different way. I really do think that the way we set up now has to be different, to be more attacking. We still have an element of control away from home. We still control games to a point, but we're just not potent enough. We need to put the ball in the net to give us a chance to win it, to win the game. And other than Everton, we're not seeing it. Even tonight, how many corners did we get, particularly in the first half? We must have had about 5 or 6 corners in that first half. And I'm going, right, set piece. Some of Sandro Tonali's deliveries were shocking. Really poor deliveries.
The Miley took over from.
Sorry?
Miley took over from on the corners from that side. Then after that,
I'm glad, and I think even to a point, I think that we, Miley should be taking them more often. Miley's the future of, I think, taking set pieces, and he's taken a few of them that we've benefited from. And I know Tonali has as well, but tonight he was really poor. He should have been taken off them a lot quicker, and Miley should have been on them a lot quicker. Just little things like that, areas that we can benefit from. Because even though we haven't got Dan Burn in it, we still have taller, physical, more players. They had Luke Shaw that's not the tallest. We had Martinez that's tiny compared to everyone else. They had smaller players on the pitch. They didn't have like a De Ligt or a Maguire, players with height and physicality. They had very quite smaller players. We were physically more dominant than them. stick it on them. The only one that we did with any note is the Bruno, the first one. I think the Bruno flip down. It was a decent save from Lemons, although I didn't think much about it. But that is absolutely crazy. I couldn't believe it when I saw that. But another talking point, Dad. I want to get your thoughts on this one from Pont Mags. Great to have your comments. He always puts good comments in, Pont Mags does. So hopefully he's in the chat still, he or she. Harvey Barnes will request a transfer if he has any sense. He's always going to be second-class citizen under Howe. What do you make about this? Because obviously Gordon's now starting. Barnes is on the bench, and then Barnes comes on and gets shifted on the right. Creates a couple of opportunities still, even though he is on the right and out of position. What do you make of this? Do you think, do you think he would be well within his rights to put in a transfer request and look for a move away with the way he's been treated, by Eddie Howe this season, considering he's second top goal scorer, equal with Gordon in all competitions, but with all outfield or all sort of in-play goals?
To a point, yes, but he has been getting some minutes, and the goals he hasn't even got many attempts recently. But at the same time, we called for Gordon. We called for Barnes to start against Chelsea, and Eddie made the shout to play Gordon. Gordon was superb, especially that first half. I can't see him handing in a transfer request. He may have the right to do it because he was on fire and Gordon gets the nod over him again. It was justified last week against Chelsea, but I cannot see Harvey Barnes doing that.
Yeah, it won't be the first time from what the noises we heard. Apparently, this time last year, he wasn't sure if he wanted to stay because of not being given opportunities. Obviously, we saw what he then did in the cup final, so it won't be the first time. He obviously has been frustrated previously, but yeah, I think it'd be really sad if Harvey Barnes was to leave in that way. Harvey Barnes has a lot to offer Newcastle United. He also has a value that if you need to raise money, he's got a value when he's 28 years old or 29. I think he's just turned 29. But yeah, I think he still has so much more to offer Newcastle United. I think he's still got more goals to score for Newcastle United. He's got games to win for Newcastle United, and I think he needs to be finding his way into the team. They need to be finding a way of playing Harvey Barnes in this Newcastle United team, because in a game where you need goals, you need Harvey Barnes to be playing. You don't want Harvey Barnes playing 25 minutes every game. It's not enough time for him to affect games. You need him starting. So yeah, I think he'd be well within his rights, because he must be thinking to himself, well, we had the noises last January that Aston Villa wanted him, and look where Aston Villa are now, and there's still rumours that they want him still. With Harvey Elliott going back to Liverpool, is that he must be looking at it going, well, if Newcastle don't want me, I can go and play for Villa that are in the top three right now and fighting for Champions League football. And he could actually, it sounds horrible to say, but he could actually be trading up if he ended up going for them. I wouldn't advise Newcastle United to sell him to Aston Villa, but it could, because there are teams in this Premier League that would absolutely take Harvey Barnes, who are currently above us right now, and that he would absolutely go into those teams and score goals and affect games for them. And I think he needs to be used better.
A good comment here from Baystroke. He says, imagine Gordon, if he was constantly being dropped for Barnes. Barnes has a great attitude. Pete,
yeah,
who are you starting against Burnley in 4 days' time? Pretty soon to be 3 days' time.
The whole team?
No, just on that left wing.
Oh, left wing. I'm starting Harvey Barnes, and obviously Alanga's injured at the moment. We don't know what the situation is with Alanga, but he's injured, as Craig Hope and others have said. For me, I'd probably go Gordon on the right, just because Murphy just doesn't seem to play well away from home.
He can't play
He never plays well away from home. He hasn't done all season. There's something fundamentally not clicking with Murphy. I know he put a couple of decent balls in today, but he doesn't. His general play is not good. I'd be playing Barnes on the left, Gordon on the right. That's
next question. Who does Eddie play left wing?
I think we already know who Eddie's going to play.
We already know, don't we? Yeah. And I suppose that leads back into the point that the original question that maybe he should think about a transfer request.
And that's frustrating, Daz, is that we know what's going to happen. We know who's going to be picked. You know, you're looking at that. We said Yara Misa would be better suited for this game, but I did say on the preview show is that I thought I had a feeling that he was going to go with Nick Voltemade again, and then Wisa start against Burnley. And I do fully expect Wisa to start against Burnley. I expect him to play.
I think if Wisa, okay, it's easy to say this now, but I think if Wisa started that game, I don't think we would have lost. We mightn't have won, but I don't think we would have lost.
Well, he offers something different, Daz. He offers a ball in behind. You think that ball from Murphy, that great ball just before half time that eludes everybody. Wisa's making that run there. Yeah. Especially a fresh Wisa that starts the game. He's making that run there. He's making that run in the behind. He stretches that defence. He asks a different question of that team. And that's no slant on Nick Voltemade. He's just made differently. He's programmed differently. My issues with Nick Voltemade is that the things that he's actually good at and can be good at, like winning headers and being a target man and holding up the ball and being stronger, they're the things I need from him, because I know he can be good at those. I need him to be more consistent with the things that he's actually good at. But Wisa offers you something that Nick Voltemade is not going to, and is that running power, that running behind, asking different questions in the box, being quick and on the move in the box, something that Nick Voltemade isn't really known for. And so for me, I think that would have absolutely been needed against Man United. And actually, I think looking at it, Nick Voltemade probably would have been better suited for Burnley. But for me, I'm playing Wisa. I think Wisa needs to get more minutes and start.
Just looking at now, I know we only had one striker to choose from, but I just looking at the goals that Nick Voltemade has scored away from home. He's got one against Brighton where we lost. He got one against Brighton, and he got one against Everton. That's his apart, like excluding the Champions League games, let's say, or any cup games. In the league, he's got 2 away from home. So it's 2 of the 7 that was mentioned there.
Yeah. There you go. I'm going to throw some points at you. There's some great comments. Thank you so much for your comments tonight. Really, really good. I say great. Hold on a second. And why are you starring this, Daz?
I started because I couldn't. You asked me a question, so I said I want to come back to that because I know the one you're going to bring up. Go on, bring it up. Put it on screen there.
Hey, Bayshooks, me and you are going to fall out in a second. We're going to fall out. How are me and Martinez ever the same height? Martinez is not part of the 6 foot club. What's going on here? And that's why you started it. What's going on?
I thought it was a quality comment. It was a break in proceedings where we need some kind of light relief. He's 1.75 meters.
Nasty work.
That.
Bayshooks, nasty work. Not happy with that. Really good question from Benny Boy. Daz, dropped Tonali for Burnley. He has. I'll put it in nicer terms. He has, in fact, he's been wanked recently. That's his opinion. I would agree with him. Would you drop him for the game against Burnley? And if so, who would you bring in?
I agree with the comment. But I'm not dropping Tonali because Tonali's even if all we're getting is 50% of Tonali, he's still better than what we have in that position. Because then you're going to bring drop Bruno back into the 6, and then play Joe Linton and we don't have the option in my league because we don't have a right back at the moment. If we did, then I'd consider dropping Tonali, but because he has been wank recently, as Benny Boy says. But just for the purpose of the audio, so people can see what the actual comment is. But without Miley being an option there, I think. What are you doing? You're putting Bruno in the 6. You're putting Ramsey and Willock, or Joe Linton and Willock, or Joe Linton and Ramsey, even that we haven't seen. So I'd still play Tonali, but I don't know what is going on with him. It's ever since that conversation came out about that interview. It's been a bit downhill for Tonali.
I agree.
I don't know.
I agree. 100%. I think his performances have been affected since that point. Since he came out and said that after that Champions League game, I think his performances and consistency of performances have dropped off massively. Don't know why. It might be just a coincidence, but I absolutely agree with you. And I think we might have even mentioned that on a previous show before, a week or a couple of weeks ago. But you're absolutely right. Absolutely. Some good points coming up. So just a comment here, really. Nothing to this is on Gordon. Gordon wants to make the World Cup his priority, and I think I'm inclined to agree with you. The way he's playing, it seems like it is absolutely his priority right now. Thoughts on Nick Voltemade? There's a couple of comments on here about Walt, but Philip says intensity is our identity. Signs the laziest striker in Europe in Voltemade. Do you agree with Voltemade being lazy?
No, it's not. I don't agree with him being lazy, but he can't do what we're used of seeing our number 9 striker, or whatever number they're wearing, 14 even, doing, chasing down the ball, the press. He did do it against Chelsea though, because I noted that when watching, because Gordon was playing like a man possessed, and Nick found another level. He found another gear in that game, but no, we didn't see any of that tonight. But I wouldn't call him lazy. But we have to find a way for him to get the best out of him. Maybe away from home isn't where we see that though.
Yeah, I don't agree with this from VIP. Voltemade is pure shit. I don't think it's shit. I think for the reasons that you've mentioned, that's just a different outlook. Who are you going for here, Daz? Because VIP also puts Ramsdale out. Who are you starting if you had the choice for the game at Turf Moor?
I'm going to try Popey again. Put Popey in again. We know with his limitations with his feet, but put him in again. And it's his to lose again. And we'll be back in with Ramsdale again if that has to happen. But I think once Popey goes back in, I don't think Eddie's going to move him unless there's some kind of injury. I don't think. I think Ramsdale has had his chance. He hasn't blown us away. So I think he's going back to Southampton at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm with you, Daz. I don't think he stays at Newcastle United. Yeah, Timmy chocolate wrist tonight. The hands melted, trying to save that shot. Didn't really have too much else to do, but it's in those moments where you need your keepers to make big saves, and I would have trusted Nick Pope. Yes, Nick Pope's made mistakes this season, but I would have trusted Nick Pope in that moment to make saves. And you know what's a worry, Daz, is that Ramsdale still hasn't got a clean sheet in the Premier League since he started playing matches. And up until Pope being out of the team, even though he was making mistakes, Nick Pope was up there as being one of the top clean sheeters in the Premier League. And I always feel like, yes, and this was always my argument against distribution, is that your fundamentals as a goalkeeper is to be able to save shots. Distribution second. I think it was right, although it was forced on Eddie, it was right to bring Ramsdale in because we needed to have a look at him, didn't we? We needed to know.
Yeah.
They brought him in on loan. Nick Pope was having a difficult moment. We had to have a look at him. We had to have a look at him as a fan base, as a club, to see whether he was going to make a difference. Distribution, so much better. Shot stopping, not so much. Commanding of area, not so much. And I think now it may well, in a number of fans' minds, and I think it already has, certainly with those that I've spoke to that were very much Nick Pope needs to get out, is that they realise now what Nick Pope brings to the team and are now quite willing to have him back into the team. And I do fully expect to see Nick Pope back in the starting lineup on next game.
Exactly. No, I'm just looking at the fixtures here, the results really, and Popey had a disastrous November. That's where things fell apart from. West Ham, okay, forget Atletico Bilbao, Brentford, Man City. Man City won, we won actually, but and then Marseille. So West Ham, Brentford, and Marseille. And Marseille, we know that he was involved in that one. So that and I know he got injured as well. Then to take the decision out of Eddie Howe's hands, but he had 3 really bad games there that month: West Ham, Brentford, and Marseille. Maybe everything wasn't his fault in West Ham and Brentford, but he conceded a lot of goals in those games. So it was only right that we got to see the injury as well. We got to see what Ramsdale could do. We've seen it now. We're both saying Popey back in now at this stage, and because it won't happen. We need to do too many more things in January. We won't be going for another keeper, and with the loan, unless we can send Ramsdale back to Southampton, which I doubt if we can. We leave. We need a new keeper, no matter who is the manager come the summer.
Okay. Apologies. Still got a little bit of a cough. I was going to go to some of the comments to just work them through, but we've had a few more super chats, so I'm going to come straight to them, Daz, if you don't mind. Pop Mag again, top stuff with comments. He's put thanks for third, superb 2025 from Loaded Mag. Pete, that's Chris. Withers through the highs and the lows, always black and white. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. You know what? It's really difficult for us, like me and Daz, and normally it's me and Daz and Chris. We're on just before we go live, and particularly after defeats like this, we're like, it's really hard to get yourself up for having to talk about something that's so disappointing, because when that final whistle went, like, the TV normally just, you want the TV to go off and you don't want to even talk about it or even think about it. So it is hard to do the shows like this when it's so bad. But the support from you guys in the chat, your super chats, your conversation, it really does help us as individuals, as Newcastle fans like you guys are. So massive thanks to you and that jumping in.
Yeah, no. Thanks to Punt Mags, and like if against Man United are my own personal derby, because I've hated Man United ever since growing up. Because obviously with us throwing away the title under Kevin Keegan at that time, and with half my family Man United supporters, I'll be getting abuse like people in Newcastle do after the derby. I'll be getting abused for the next 2 weeks on this one. Yeah, really disappointing. But it is. Pete's right. It is difficult to come on when after a bad feed or a bad performance, or knowing things have gone to shite this season, like after the highs of last season, when Eddie did turn around, went to that run, and we got the cup. But look, it is what it is. That's what we're doing here with the show. You can't just come on when we win. What's the point in that?
Absolutely. One from VIP saying here very quickly, season over. I just wanted to get that one out there. That was just his opinion on it. Going back to the super chats though, Benny Boy has said, is it time to get some money for Botman while we can? Fantastic centre back when he's at his best, but he's never available, which is becoming a hindrance to us. I've got an opinion on this, but Daz, you jump in first, mate. Your opinions on Sven Botman. Should we cash in now?
No, because his contract's running out. We won't get our what we should for him, and we don't know what direction Botman's going to go in as well. We're meant to be in contract talks with him. I would keep him myself, but it could well be linked to what's happening with Eddie Howe here as well. And what direction we're going in, but big decisions ahead for Newcastle United. Could be a summer of change, but Botman, I wouldn't cash in. I want to keep him.
Yeah, look, I've had this conversation with a few people, who of which are questioning Sven Botman because obviously he's come back and he's had a couple of injuries. So he came back this time last year. He had that knee injury that put him out for about 8 weeks until April, when he had, I think, his knee scraped. He had to get some stuff taken out of his knee. It wasn't related to the ACL, I don't believe. And then he's had the injury now, obviously with his back. For me, I've kind of like fought for Sven Botman here. Like, Sven Botman's come back in this season, and this is his first injury. So it took until December to get his injury, like his first injury of the season. He was playing like every 2-3 days, so he was proving his fitness. Obviously, he's got this back problem, which seems like, I've got a feeling Sven Botman will be on the bench against Burnley. I think he'll be back for that game. It's just my hunch. I've got nothing to back that up, but I think he'll be back very soon. I think today we did miss someone like Sven Botman. I didn't think Fabian Schär had the best game. I didn't think he played very well. Malik Chow is always pretty steady. I thought he was pretty steady, but I don't think Schär had his best game. But yeah, he's got 18 months left on his contract, which is not a lot. And you can't command the sort of money that you think he would be deserving to be transferred for if he's still only got 18 months left. And he's not going to be sold in January. So then you go back to the summer. He's got to prove his fitness over the next half of the season. So that when he's back fit, he needs to stay fit for the rest of the season. I think if he can do that, I think he will be offered a new contract. However, there'll be teams sniffing with a year to go. And I've said to you boys before, I'm worried. I'm worried that he's being kind of affected, or his head's been turned by certain teams to go, don't sign the contract. Wait until the summer and then let them know you want to leave. If they've not got European football, for example, here's a conversation, there's a question on that in a second. You can maybe be more inclined to ask for a move away. I'm just giving you a scenario here. And Newcastle will then probably have to bow to a lesser fee to allow him to leave. They don't have to, by the way, but they might in terms of reinvesting. If Sven Botman, and Dad knows how much I love Sven Botman, if Sven Botman picks up another 2 or 3 injuries between now and the end of the season, I think it might be worth cashing in on him. That's horrible for me to say because we need a defender that's going to be able to prove his fitness all the time. He's not there yet. He's only had 1 injury this season, remember? And I still believe that he can come back in and play week in, week out. But if he continues to pick up injuries between now and the end of the season, and he's not someone that you can hang your hat on, maybe we do need to move him on and get someone in that can. The problem I have, though, with that, to caveat that is that the player that you're bringing in may not be of the same level as Sven Botman. Us getting Sven Botman for 32 million was an absolute steal of how good he was and what he came in and the pedigree that he had. He was a steal at £32 million. I'm not sure we could get that again. Although we have got that with Malik Chow, but even then, Sven Botman was a level above of Malik Chow in terms of his performances and how he was playing. So yeah, I think it would be really difficult to get that level of player to come in, slot right in after that. But that's a conversation, luckily, we don't have to have right now. The most important thing is that Sven Botman comes back fit, and hopefully he's back for Burnley and he has a run of games, because ultimately we want Sven Botman to stay at Newcastle United. So let's wait and see. Benny Boy, if he continues to continue to put up with injuries between now and May, then that may be more of a realistic conversation. I've gone kind of around the houses with that, but I wanted to give some context in how I'm thinking right now with regards to Sven Botman.
No, it's fair point there, Pete.
Yeah, it's just kind of just where we're at, I think. Another super chat here from Insanity. Hey lads, love the channel. Love Eddie Howe, but enough is enough. I think he's taken us as far as he can. I hope to be wrong, but I'm seeing nothing.
Yeah. If I wasn't on YouTube, I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking. I'm not secretly shouting for Eddie Howe out, but maybe I'd be getting more frustrated and wanting something to change. Sorry, I do want something to change, but wanting a change of manager. But I think it's. I just want to give him another chance. I just wanted to give him this chance until the end of the season. But after the season, I am ready to pull the trigger as well. But I just want to see can he perform one last miracle here. If he can't, then toodaloo, on to someone else. And but with that brings big changes across the board too. I think that we have a massive change in personnel to go with that as well. And it's not going to be an easy fix. It's not going to. Someone isn't going to come in and they're just going to hit the ground running either. It's going to take a few seasons for them to bring in their players and apply their style. So we're if you think we're in a transition season of transition now, I think we'll have a few more to come.
Yeah, you want Eddie Howe to be able to turn it around. You want Eddie Howe to be able to make the difference, because he's done it before previously. You know, he's been able to turn it around and obviously get his Champions League football winners a trophy. He's been able to turn around a real ridiculous level of injuries and take us to 7th spot. He didn't get his Europe, but he should have. You know, so he's been able to make those differences, and you kind of feel like you want to give him that confidence that he can go and do it again. But equally, we need to see changes. We need to see that something different is happening. Just like last season when he put Tonali in the 6 and he made some changes to the team, it had a positive effect. We need to see that those changes are being made. Voltemada, Wiesa, for example, making changes that are affecting games, but we just seem to keep seeing the same old, which is why at the moment I'm not confident that we're going to go on a run and win many games. But hopefully we see some change. David R puts amend for 32 months. Thank you, David. We could be 15th tomorrow. Is Eddie's 4-3-3 stale? Again, that's just the conversation we've been having about this. It's continuing on. Daz, a couple more points on here. Would you take Morgan Gibbs-White from Forest? Obviously, they're in a difficult position, just below us in the league, but would you take him as that sort of attacking midfielder that offers something a little bit different? Would you have him in the team?
I think a club tried to take him in the summer in the form of Spurs, and that didn't really work out, did it? The owner put his foot down and ensured that he stays. I don't think we're getting Gibbs White. I don't. But yeah, I take him. Of course, I would. He's a great player. He could someone else that could try and unlock. But he wouldn't be top of my list. No, and I don't. I want someone from Europe. I want someone or from South America. Someone that's not Premier League tried and trusted. I want someone else that can bring something different. Not the same Eddie Howe type signings we've had before. So I want him to change. Maybe it's the impossible I'm asking for here, and I know a lot of people are disagreeing with me in the chat, but if he doesn't change, he's gone.
Oh, absolutely. Just a few more points before we wrap. Kuz has put a question for Daz and Pete. Be honest, do you think Howe's lost the dressing room? For me, he has. Sandro doesn't look interested. Seems like the dressing room is divided. Do you get that feeling that Kluge has had, Daz, or do you feel anything differently?
No, but I don't think he's lost the dressing room. He did kind of start to go in on players there the other day. I remember the whole situation with Bruno saying one thing and Eddie Howe saying something else, and he agreed with half of what Bruno said. The embarrassing and a mess comments. But no, I don't think he's lost the dressing room. They've come through a lot together, but I'm sure there's a lot of players in there that are having question marks and things as well. A lot of them are fighting for squad positions or starting positions for the World Cup respective countries as well, and this can't be doing them any much good. But no, I don't think Eddie's lost the dressing room. I don't know. He just needs he needs some kind of a miracle coming up. In this January, February run of games. Let us see. And a transfer window to boot.
Yeah. And this should hopefully kick us into some quick action to make signings quickly, so it can affect the games at home in the early part of January as much as the way difficult games at the back end of January. There's no point us waiting until the last day of the month in January to sign players when we've played all of those long matches, and there's a high chance we don't win some of those away matches, and we're already in an even deeper difficult position than we are right now. So yes, there is questions to be,
and there can be no excuse either, because Ross Wilson came in after the transfer, and I can't remember the exact date, but he's got time to work with Eddie Howe and identify the targets that they want to bring in. So I know transfers can be difficult, but they don't have that excuse this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. Magpie Warrior is worried because if we miss out on Europe, we will have players wanting to leave, I imagine. I think PIF want us at the top, and we can't afford a lackluster season. Are you worried about that thought of people wanting to leave if we don't get European football? I mentioned earlier on that I think it's absolutely essential that we get European football this season. What are your thoughts on what Magpie Warrior said?
Yeah, I agree with what he's saying. Magpie Warrior. I was been worried since the 2nd of November when I realised we're not getting Champions League football, but not getting European football. Again, it's another thing it means that we haven't been anyway successful in any cup either. So and probably that we're still haven't come over our atrocious away form. So it equals Eddie Howe is gone.
Another comment here. I think you started this one, Daz. Eddie Howe on Gordon. I thought it was our brightest player in attack today. I thought he played well. He was direct, full of running, and I was pleased with his individual performance.
Yeah, I think I hadn't seen the quote. Gordon didn't do an awful lot in the first half. I've seen him this season play an awful lot worse. The high point of his season for me was the Chelsea game in that first half, especially where he wasn't playable in that first half. And I thought he started the season really well, but in the second half, I thought he upped his game, but again, it wasn't anywhere near what we saw at home playing against Chelsea.
Yeah, not another average performance from me with regards to Eddie. Just some comments here before the last question. Kiss goodbye to Champions League. It's not happening. Top half at this point is a stretch with our stinky away form. Can't argue with that. DXLE has put 250 million spent, and we still need a new left wing, right wing, centre mid, and right back. Hard to disagree with any of these comments. LB, Man City fan, has put this Newcastle attack is toothless. Again, I can't not agree with that. Stevie Wonder has also put as well, we have been toothless in attack since Carabao Cup final. Howe has been worked out and offers very little tactical management throughout the game, and players look disfranchised. Someone was talking about James Trafford as being the solution, but Aaron's put, if Trafford is the solution, I'm going to need something stronger than brandy. Yeah, I don't see us going back in for Trafford. Do you, Daz?
Not in January. But if it's a thing, Eddie Howe is still here in the summer, then I could see him go back in again.
Yeah. This one here says, "Bring Xavi now." From VIP. I'm not sure on that one, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, we talked about Xavi before, I think, in another show.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we have to see where we land on that time. But don't worry, there'll be a lot of shows if we're talking about a new manager and a new approach.
Mm-hmm. Joe Linton should have started, said VIP. Genie Esther, Conference League is a hindrance. Random trips to Azerbaijan and Gibraltar are terrible pitches. I'll just jump in on this one. European football is European football. You like, to attract good players to the team, you need to be offering European football. And for me, Europa Conference, yes, it's not the Champions League, but it's a competition I think we can win. The Europa League, I think, is the same. I think if we go in the Europa League, I think it's a genuine competition we can win. So that's why I would say it would be good to get into that. But any thoughts on that before I come to the last question, Daz?
I can see what Iniesta is saying, because we know, and Eddie Howe's Newcastle United aren't able to compete in Europe and the Premier League, because we've had the season where we had all the injuries, and that was the excuse. This season, we've seen that the away form is just atrocious. So, but I do think back to the comments that you made, Pete, and I if we're in the Conference League, we have to be in it to win it, and we can, as you said before, we can play a weakened team, or play like the squad players to get them up to get match time and give them the opportunity of nailing a position in the Premier League team. So it's an opportunity for that. And then as you get further in the competition, then you can play the stronger squad team, first 11 in that competition. But let's worry about that if it ever happens.
We need to do what Aston Villa do, and this will be their fourth season consecutively in European football. That's when you put yourself on the map as a regular team in Europe. You don't want to be yo-yoing in Champions League, then nothing, then Champions League, then nothing. That's not what Newcastle United want to become. They want to be a team that's known to be playing European football every year. Doesn't matter what competition it is. Well, it does. It does. You want to be playing Champions League football. But if you're not playing Champions League football, you want to be minimum Europa Conference League, but ideally Europa League if you can't get Champions League football. Getting nothing is not acceptable. For me, I don't accept it. It is not right.
Yeah.
We should be getting European football minimum, regardless of what it is. Because for me, if you're not getting Champions League football, any of those are the 2 European competitions in Europa League and Europa Conference, we should be attacking to win. That's the reality. Villa will be there in the final for the Europa League. Palace will be there, if not thereabouts, for the final of the Conference League. The English teams are there to win both of those competitions because they are the strongest, biggest wages, biggest transfer budgets, better players than the vast majority, if not all, of the other teams in that competition. And it's very clear that we need our squad of players to be used to playing every 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Some of these players aren't used to it and can't manage it. We need to be building a squad that's readily available. Look at what Aston Villa are doing. In the Europa League, they're turning teams over, going to Belgium and wherever they're going, and then rocking up on a Sunday and turning teams over. That's because it's instilled in them because we've been doing it for 4 years. We're not there yet, and we should be because we've been fighting at the top table in the Premier League for the last 4 years. So we should be there and programmed to do it, and we're not. That's a fundamental issue for me. That's something that's not right. So,
yeah, and then like if you win Conference League, you're in the Europa League. If you were to win the Europa League, you're in the Champions League. So it's another way of getting in there as well as winning another trophy. So I wouldn't rule it out. Even though I did previously have those thoughts because of this one season good, another season crap approach. But I'm happy to go into whatever European competition we get. And at this moment in time, it's not looking like we're getting any.
Yeah. Last couple. I know I keep saying it, but there's another super chat there. Brian's put we're a yo-yo club, and that's what we don't want to be. That's what we don't want to be, Brian. But it seems like that's what we are right now, and that's the frustration at this moment in time. Super chat here from Mickey Toonami. Players are bored of these tactics. It is pointless trying to bring new young players into the club because Eddie won't even play them. I'm worried about players leaving, never mind new ones. Thank you for super chat. Daz, just some quick thoughts on that one.
At one point I agree with here, but sound like Eddie Howe. But the bit where he is because Eddie won't even play them. My worry then is that if we bring players in January, you know how he doesn't play them straight away. He integrates them into the team, and then it's a couple of weeks before he actually starts to play them, and they learn to play. But we need to have players that are going to hit the ground running because we don't have a pre-season to work through to get them up to speed. That bit worries me, and yeah, I'm worried about players leaving as well if we're not in the Champions League. Like what's going on with Tonali there? Is this connected in some way as well? Yeah, so it's a fair enough point, Mickey Toonami.
Absolutely. And thank you, Mickey, with your super chat. Spot on as ever. And Brian has asked the question, which I'll end on. A couple of comments from Gene Esther at the end. How many points are you expecting from the next 4 in the Premier League? So we know we go to Turf Moor next. I think is it on Tuesday, I believe? Is it Tuesday?
It is on Tuesday the 30th at 7:30.
Okay. So Burnley, Turf Moor, and then it's is it Palace at home and then Leeds, or Leeds then Palace?
Palace Sunday, 4th of January at 3:00.
Okay.
Then we have Leeds home. We're home against Leeds on Wednesday the 7th of January at 8:15. And our next then league game comes after the FA Cup third round and the first leg of the semi-final of the League Cup against Man City. And that game is Wolves. We're away at Wolves on the 18th of January at 2:00. So Burnley away, Crystal Palace at home, Leeds at home, and Wolves away.
So how many out of those 12 do you 12 possible points do you think we're going to accumulate?
I think we have to get 9. We should be getting 9.
I think 12 needs to be a must.
Yeah, I'm saying minimum because I'm allowing for a slip up, and that one is Palace. I'm not allowing a slip up against Burnley. Fuck that. I might be joining the crew on the Eddie out if we fucking lose against Burnley, and because there might be no hope of us ever winning away this season if we can't beat Burnley. And again, at Wolves, if we can't beat Wolves away, who've only got 2 points in the league. I think a lot of we're smack bang in the middle of the transfer window on the 18th of January, right? But the future of Eddie Howe is kind of nearly known by that stage. If we lose at Burnley, whatever happens against Palace and Leeds, if we're out of the FA Cup and if we mess up big time in the first leg or we're at home against Man City and lose against Wolves, I would get away. What's the point?
You look at those 4 games, and 3 of them are against teams in a relegation battle, or that are likely to be. Leeds are obviously picking up points, so they're probably less so. But Burnley away, Wolves away, both in the relegation battle, deep into relegation battle. Leeds is expected to be, although, like I said, they're picking up points. There's 3 games that really you have to be taking 3 points from. So you should be taking 9 points from those 3. And then Palace are obviously Palace. They're up and down with form at the moment, but they're still doing well. They're doing better than us. They're managing European football and Premier League better than we are. So yeah, I think, but again, our record against Palace at St James's Park is good. We do know how to turn them over, and with 2 of those games at St James's Park, I do expect us to beat those 2 teams at St James's Park. So we should absolutely be targeting 12 from that. But you're right, minimum 9, and that's a concern. It's a concern.
And the other concern here is that we could play like Man City in the first leg of the League Cup semi-final. They have to be up for that, but we're at home as well, right? But then I'll jump past the Wolves away game. It's where Champions League game against PSV, and sandwiched in between those 2 is that Wolves game, and that's where they're away from home, focused on the game before, focused on the game after, not focused on the game against Wolves. That is a potential fuck up there written all over it.
Unacceptable.
It should no way be, but
it's unacceptable, Daz. Losses against Burnley and Wolves, with all due respect to both of those clubs, is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. There is no way that can be accepted. No way. I'm not having that. So yeah, you're right in terms of there might be considered other priorities around that time, but there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. We should be getting wins on the board in those games. There's no excuses. So yeah, 9 points minimum. 12 is the expectation for both of us, I think, in that one. And I think we'll leave it there for tonight. Genius has put 250 watching at this time of night. The support for the channel is absolutely superb. Thank you so much for everyone that's been putting their comments in, showing their opinion, putting their comments on the chat, the live chat. We do try and keep up as much as we possibly can. Try to get everyone's questions in, but apologies if we didn't. Thank you so much for the 2 super chats. We always prioritize those first and foremost. And another therapy session, Daz, tonight after it's just come on again on Sky, and I don't think I can put myself through it. I normally do watch games back, but I don't think I could put myself through this.
Don't do it. It's still meant to be Christmas. Don't do it, Pete. Yeah, look, this one has not been easy, boys, or chatters, I should say. It's been hard to take, and it's just I think it's because it's becoming more obvious that we're things are falling apart here, and he needs a miracle now at this stage. But he's done it in the past. He's turned things around in the past. Whether he will be able to this time remains to be seen. But don't worry, we'll be with it. We'll be on it, no matter what. Yeah, I'm not even going to go with an intro or an outro. We'll just leave it there. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas. We will be back soon. We might be back with the Fully Loaded Transfer Show coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. Right, talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, people.
Catch you later.